Hi, everyone. I am so excited because I am speaking with author Brad Parks again. So excited about that. His brand new book comes out tomorrow. Yay for book birthday. Unthinkable. I do happy dances every time you write a book.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. It's very kind of you. Thank you. Well, yeah, how many times have I been on with you? I can remember at least a couple.
Yeah, I think this is at least the third. But
Right. You poor thing. I'm sorry about that.
you know what? I went on Goodreads today to give my little review, and I saw your review.
Yeah, people get a kick of when I review my own books. Like, look, being an author is hard enough, right? Like, there's enough strife and turmoil and difficulty. So, like, the least I can do for myself is give myself 5 stars on Goodread, right?
Oh, right. I saw it. It was so weird. It popped up at the beginning, and I was like, "Wait, Brent. Wait, am I on the?" He's giving himself a review. Okay.
I try to be as forthright as I can be, though. But like, yes, this is the author giving himself 5 stars. But to be fair, I give everything 5 stars on Goodreads. My policy is if I'm going to review it on Goodreads, it's going to be a 5 star review because I only want to tell you about books that I liked and books that you want to read and books that I want to share. The other stuff, nah, we can leave that out.
Exactly. And I love the people, and this isn't just about your books, it's about everybody's book who's been a repeat author. And they're like, oh, I used to love Brad Parks, but man, now. And you're like, what? Why are you writing that? I don't know. I just got a kick out of that.
Yeah, that's always like damaging for me too. It's like I've lost my fastball. Like I used to be something, but now here at the age of 47, I am completely washed up.
And now it's
like as if having a receding hairline isn't enough trouble. Like I've lost it as a writer too.
let's talk about this cover.
Sure.
I love this cover.
You like it? Cool.
I do. When I got it, I was just like, it makes me want to know what it means.
Kind of two roads that diverge, yeah.
And of course, here it is, because I always like this for my bookshelf, so everybody can.
Looks very nice. It looks very nice.
So I'm going to let you, because, I don't know how far to push this past chapter 1, but let's just put it this way. Your chapter 1s are like, we're not going to mess around.
Yes, we have. We were just talking before we started recording about the short attention spans of the American public. So no, I don't have time to waste. And seriously, Michelle, I can remember doing a book signing like 10 years ago, something like that. That was like a lot of book signings. Like every author has that kind of embarrassing story of like, so I had gotten reviewed by the paper in town that had likened me to a mix between Janet Ivanovich and Bob Woodward. Right. And I'm like, this is a great review. And it was like a lot of, press like a lot of page in the paper. And so I show up at the event thinking I'm going to have a packed house. Instead, there are 5 people there, 3 of whom work for the bookstore. Right. And you're like, but afterwards I went out and across the parking lot, there was a movie theater and the movie theater was jammed. Right. And that was one of those little stories of like, that's really my competition, right? Like that is what I have to be better than. I have to be a better entertainment product than what they're getting on that massive screen. And so part of that for me is, I don't have time to mess around. I got to hook you right away.
Yeah. I mean, this first chapter was crazy. I was like, what? I mean, and I am so hard on a first chapter. Not that I won't continue if I really want to like the book. If I'm in it and I'm like, I know it, it'll get better. But when I read a first chapter like yours, then I can go to, then I'm like, no, it's what time is it? Sorry, got to second. And that's what you want to do, right? You want to keep them going to the second chapter. And I will always go to that. Reading a first chapter like that, I will go to the second chapter right away. So I love that. You have to tell us about Jenny and Nate. And Lovejoy is their last name, which I just get a kick out of names because I know when you're picking them out, like Lovejoy, like.
Well, so yeah, I have a buddy whose last name is Lovejoy, and I thought, great name, got to use it sometime. And it's the perfect name for Nate. He is this ordinary guy. He's a stay-at-home dad. He loves his wife. He finds joy in life. He's Lovejoy. I mean, really, he truly is. And so what I did to this guy, Michelle, as you know, but your viewers don't, is I gave him pretty much the worst scenario I could imagine. I mean, really, that's actually how I started this book. I said, okay, what is the worst possible thing I can do to this character? And I personally love my wife very much. And so the first thing that popped in my head is, I'm going to make this guy kill his wife. Yeah, that's it. And that's really actually how this book started. And like, okay, what if I can put this character? So I'm going to have, on one hand, he has to kill his wife. And on the other hand, something so incredibly awful that there's no good choice to make. Like, I love taking a character, especially a character like Nate, this ordinary guy, just like you or me, just like somebody you'd bump into at the grocery store, and then put him into this mind-blowing circumstance. So in this case, what I have created is a scenario where either he has to kill his wife or a billion people will die.
Right?
And what's he going to do? What's he going to do? And that's, you know, and that's really what drives a lot of the plot of the book. Like, what would you do? Right? What's Nate going to do? What, you know, and he goes through all of the stages of denial that this is even true and tries to investigate it. You know, meanwhile, he's a stay-at-home dad. So
Little girls.
two little girls. So like, again, I'm making things harder on the character. Not only Nate, do you have to save the world, you have to do it with two toddlers in tow. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and you know, I know that you have kids because the oldest one, who's 3, Parker, right?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I got
Yeah. There's Parker and Kate. So
okay.
and by the way, I did the worst thing. I picked what to me were the worst possible ages, right?
Right.
3 years and 18 months. I mean, those are just brutal, brutal ages. I mean, you know, at that age, you are just trying to, like, I can remember being a dad when my kids were that age, and like 15 minutes could feel like 3 hours.
And you're like,
you know, and
can I give him a bath and put him to bed yet?
Oh my God. Or, you know, like I'm waiting for my wife to get home, and we had this long dirt driveway, and just staring up the driveway. Is she here yet? My God, it's like, it's 4:45, it's 5:15, it's 6 o'clock. Where the hell is she? Oh my God. You know, and like, yeah, just remembering how those days could be, you know, because
and the 3-year-old, well, Parker has a way of like telling on the dad. And I was like, you know, Brad raised 3-year-olds when he wrote this, because they're put in that information that's just out of nowhere. Just like,
basically they're these little like emotional terrorists, right? Like they will absolutely get their way some way or another, or they'll just kind of like spill your secrets. This is why I realized the strategy very early on. Do not think anything with a 3-year-old is going to stay secret. It's just not. So like, get it all up on the table. Be like, you know, like if, you know, say we had, I don't know, brownies for lunch or something like that. And not that I would feed maybe once or twice I fed my child brownie for lunch, but but it would be like really above board. Be like, and we're going to tell mama we had brownies for lunch. Woo! Because otherwise, like, it's going to come out one way or another. So it might as well be this completely, you know, transparent activity.
Yes. And 3 is that age. And I just loved it. I loved how whenever the mom was around, just something, and it pushed that, because then he's like, oh crap, like she's telling on me. Like,
right. He can't get away with anything.
Get away with anything. And he's just trying to make sure these kids stay safe all day. Okay.
Well, and that really was kind of fun to write some of these scenes where, you know, Nate is kind of going through these investigative procedures that we normally see protagonists in thrillers do, but he has to do it with a pack and play and with the baby bumbo, you know, with all the accoutrements, with, you know, one on his shoulder, the other he's holding her hand, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's just a layer of fun for sure.
Absolutely. And I love how they end up on Facebook, and like you brought everything into like what I didn't have to deal with. Maybe you didn't. I did not have to deal with when I was raising my children. And I always think, oh my God, what if I would have, like, I'm so happy that I didn't have to deal with social media, you know, back then for any of those reasons. But especially for this one, it was so much fun. So much fun. And
so you're discovering now, Michelle, why you don't see any pictures of my children on Facebook or any social media, because I just don't want to even start down that slippery slope. And people are like, oh, but Facebook has privacy settings. It's like, I trust those privacy settings about as far as I can throw them. Thank you very much. I mean, come on now. And ultimately, like, and seriously, like, you want to give your kids the opportunity to live their life in their way. And maybe they're going to choose to share that life publicly, and fine. Like when they reach the age of 18 or whatever, like that will be their decision. I don't want me to make that decision for them, right? I don't want to have shared their entire toddlerhood and childhood, and now it's all out there and they can't take it back if they decided they want to live more privately. So that's me. That's a tangent. That's Brad Parks on Facebook. And obviously Nate Lovejoy gets sucked in different ways, very much against his will.
It does. And I even have to ask my children if I can post grandchildren pictures. Like I have to ask permission, which you think, oh, why? But no, because you know what?
Yeah,
You never know. You don't know what it's going to turn
you
into.
just don't know. Yeah.
But I love the fact that you make it so relatable, what he's going through at every turn when he's just, all he's trying to do is save his wife. And every time he turns around, there's like obstacle, obstacle, obstacle.
Right.
And you are the master of that. And I love them. And we aren't going to talk about the ending, but I know with you, I'm going to love the ending. And I do.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
you always keep us, right there with them and loving
Well,
them.
and the beauty of this ending is I literally, so I've told you this in the past, Michelle, I don't know how these things are going to end when I start them. And, the ending of this one just surprised the heck out of me. I really did not know it was coming. Actually, it was probably about a third of the way through the novel that I kind of figured out the big twist that I can't tell any of your viewers right now because it would ruin the novel. But I mean, I was like so excited, but I didn't know that when I started. And so it was really a novel that found itself. And the beauty of how it found itself was I kept asking this certain character, again, I'm trying not to spoil things too much.
Right.
I kept asking the character questions like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And finally I understood, and it led to this big twist. And again, it felt very organic. And that's when you're living right, when you get that kind of thing to happen in your novel.
Yeah. And isn't it the beauty of being like, isn't that the most fun part of being a writer?
Yeah. I mean, the discovery and I always know, like, if I surprise myself and fool myself, I'll surprise and fool the reader. And readers love that, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I can tell when a writer is having fun writing. I can tell if they're plunging through it, just trying to, or they're trying to get themselves out of a corner. We can almost sense it. We don't know it. We don't know what we sense, but we sense something forced. Something, but when I read your stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, Brad is having too much fun with these people.
Well, and part of that though is because when I'm drafting and I got my hands on my keyboard in front of me, you can't see it, and I'm not feeling that energy and that fun, I say, okay, something's wrong. Like I've got to fix something here. And that's when I'm maybe going back and adding something in, or I'm changing the plot, but like if I am bored, if I'm not having a good time, you're going to be bored and you're not having a good time. And that is not allowed. So I kind of hopefully don't let it happen. If I do, something's wrong.
I think, was it Stephen King or Alfred Hitchcock? I don't know. Somebody said, if you're not staying up all night writing your book, if your book doesn't keep you up all night.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't there something then your reader won't stay up all night?
Yes. Or there's the immortal Elmore Leonard advice, which is cut out the part that readers skip.
And we do.
Yeah, I know. So I cut that part out. Like that's gone, doesn't exist.
Yeah, and we do. Well, I am so excited for you because tomorrow
is the big day.
Tomorrow is the big day. And do you get so excited still? Like, is it still?
Yeah, well, because Michelle, I wait such a long time for this thing to come about. I mean, I started writing this book 2 years ago, right? And I've been, and I like this book was with me. I finished up a draft in like November, and then in January, my editor saw it, and I was actually editing this book at the beginning of the pandemic, right? But really, the book has been out of my hands for close to a year now, and all I've been doing for the last year is like waiting for it, and I knew people were going to love it when they got to it, but like, oh my God, I just want them to meet these characters, right? And I want them to, just experience all the things that I experienced when I was writing it, because I think it's hopefully. So Kirkus Reviews gave me one of my favorite reviews of all time. They called it a textbook one sitting read. And if that's what I can make it for folks, man, I feel great. I feel like I've done my job at that point.
Absolutely. I totally agree. So since this book this is the last part, and I'll let you go. If this has been out of your hands, we know that means you've been writing.
Of course. And there's another one ready to go that I can't talk about yet because it doesn't have a title or a pub date. But hopefully, maybe around this time next year, you'll see me again.
I love your titles because they're usually like, interference.
Right. Yeah. Well, so yeah, and in this case, Nate is being asked to do the unthinkable. And that was one of those things where I forget what, originally the title was Unintended, because of the unintended consequences of certain actions and whatnot. So unintended, whatever. And I was like, at one point typing, and I went, I was being asked to do the unthinkable, and I went, ooh, unthinkable now. And so from that point on, that was the title.
Absolutely, way better. Well, I can't wait to see. I will be on social media tomorrow,
Okay.
following, backing you up, and telling everybody all about this. And thank you so much for talking with me again.
My pleasure.
Great to talk to you again. So everybody,
Right.
there
Sounds
you
good.
go. You can actually just go on tonight, pre-order it, get it by tomorrow. That's what I do.
Awesome.
Thank
Michelle,
you.
thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.